and they are the most focused of all the other manufacturers, because this Paris Motor Show, they've chosen to focus all their attention on their Focus and Focus derived cars. So we see the new C-Max. Up until now, C-Max has always been a 7-seater with 2 rear folding seats. However, now this changes and we see them go to the Renault style of people carriers. So we now have a 5-door C-Max with 2 rear doors that open out like normal doors, and then to go into a 7-seater Grand C-Max, which has sliding rear doors, giving better access into the rear and into the rear 2 seats. And it's overall, this car is marginally longer than this car. That's all it really is. So we've all become accustomed to Ford's love of light facelifts, the odd grille change, stick some new lights in it, and that's a new car. However, when it comes to Focus, they have really 100% totally changed the car. It's all new from the ground up. First off, we have the Focus Saloon. Almost definitely not going to be a big seller in the UK market, never has been, never was when it was Escort and Orion, so fail to see why we've gone back down this route of not learning our lesson from previous experiences. However, we do know that the Focus Saloon sells massively in the European market, so almost definitely more for the European market. However, what Ford have decided to do is launch the new Focus in ST format from launch. Now this is something quite new for Ford. Normally we're used to seeing an ST and an RS model 6-8 months, a year after first launch. However, Ford have taken the initiative to do it at once. This could be potentially because the car looks much better in the ST form and not nearly as bad as it looks in the regular form. I am not a huge fan of the new Focus, unfortunately. I think it looks far too Americanized. Yes, it's the last of their one world cars, whereby they sell the same car all over. I have some reservations. My first reservation is the new rear lights that tail off into almost taking up a third of the new rear quarter panel. It's not a particularly great look, to be fair. I don't really know what would have made Ford go down this route. The new front is as we would have expected, very Mondeo-like, it's got lights and some bumpers. But what we will do is spin you around and I'll show you the new titanium. Now the new titanium Focus, with its snazzy new running light, helps just break down the car's image a little bit. For a start, in the dark colour, the rear lights actually seem to work with the car and suit the car. In red, which we've got over there, looks terrible. So overall, new Focus titanium, top spec, ST, and they've also taken the benefit of launching the brand new Estate at the same time, which is, again, really odd. We're seeing a full product lineup from Ford in the Focus in one hit, rather than spreading it out over 2 or 3 motor shows and spreading it out over 8 to 12 months, which is how they normally roll these cars out. So one can only assume that sales of the existing Focus have dropped so dramatically and so sharply since things like the new Astra and the new Megane Sport Hatch that they feel the need to dump all of this at once into the market to regain some market share. Now the Ford Estate, the Focus Estate, oddly, is actually, it's a great looking car. It's grown on me already. Not as quick as the Hatch should or would, but overall I think the actual Focus Estate is a really nice market segment for this car to be aimed at. Now, as you can see from the side view, it looks much longer than the pre-existing Focus. In actual fact, it looks considerably longer than the existing Focus. But there is one major issue I have with this car, and it isn't these awful rear lights that form most of the rear wing. It is in fact this fuel cap. Why on God's green earth, Ford, have you put a fuel cap that size in the size of this car? It is ridiculous. It's almost like the entire rear panel lifts up, and because it fits nicely into this bit, I think they think they've hidden it, but in fact far from it. It just looks like you've pranged the car and you've just shoved a bit of metal over where you dented it. Very bad. And the problem is, great new back, I have to say great new back, when you come to the other side, because you don't have that huge filler cap, this side looks uneven, looks unbalanced, doesn't really work for me. But we should wait and see. It is Ford, it is a Focus, it is a massive market car for them, and no doubt it will fly off the shelf. Just not onto my drive, I have to say. I'm not loving it.